What is up, everybody? Welcome back to the Rewind here on the Wayward World Park podcast. I am your award-winning podcast host, Sid Al-Thamali, and I have a very exciting drag queen all the way from Oklahoma joining us. For those of you that thought, hey, the Aurora Gosmic episode was supposed to come out after the Maddie Patty episode, and you're right, it was supposed to come out. But unfortunately, my computer shit the bed and we lost the raw file for Aurora Gosmic and for Cherry Bepsy, a local Bellingham, Washington drag queen. Actually, no, she's not from Bellingham. She's from Tacoma, but she performs in Bellingham. But we're excited to have this diva today. She puts the hoe in Oklahoma. Please welcome Max LaTour. How are you doing, Max?
Mm, I'm wonderful.
Yeah, how
I'm
does it how does it feel to be the last recorded episode officially of 2024?
uh, well, feels like an honor. Feels like going out with a big one, a big
Mm.
bang, a famous, one of the most famous.
Are, are you
RuPaul, eat
now,
shit.
now are you one of the most famous drag queens in Oklahoma, or is that Bronwyn Belmont, who I think proclaimed that in her episode?
Oh, yeah, that's what she would like to think, but
Mhm.
she's not booked and blessed like me. Lily, we're just booked in the same show, hosting it together. Yeah,
Yeah.
no, we're probably the same level of, you know, we hide in our house half of the year type of queens. So, famous to ourselves, which is
Yeah.
important to know.
You're famous here in Washington, at least for me. I'll scream y'all's names here.
They're like, who?
Mm.
Boo Boo Bellhop and Jax Lahore. I don't know who that is.
Love that. Well, how was your Christmas? Did you do anything fun? Or like, did you get everything that you wanted?
I got some cute stuff. I got some little things. I feel like it is the year of like everyone is struggling and they're like, God damn, Christmas is expensive. Like my family is like, okay, we're gonna get you some things. We're gonna hang out, but we're gonna make it regular and chill. I did get a PlayStation 2 though.
A PlayStation
So
2. Oh my God.
my parents had like a copy from like when they probably bought it when it came out of um I think it's Silent Hill Revelations or whatever, or yeah, I don't not Revelations, I don't know. It's Broken Memories, I don't know. It's some Silent Hill, which is crazy because those are like $200 to $300 on eBay.
Oh,
So
sickening.
I
Are
have
you a
one
gamer?
copies. I am. I've been a gamer like from a very early age because my parents had me when they were teenagers, so they were gamers, and so I just played video games like my whole life. Probably way too much, like not enough going outside, just gaming for like hours at a time.
Well, now you got me really into asking you about video games before we even get into
Well, there
you.
we
So,
go.
yeah, well,
This is
real
a video
quick,
game podcast.
what was your favorite video game that you played this year?
Well, I've honestly slowed down in gaming a lot because of drag taking over like most of my time and then working and actually like being an adult. I'm like, fuck, I can't just play video games all day. But I did get my PlayStation 2, so I've been getting back into some games. So I've been playing Dog's Life that I played as a kid. Um, and I also have a PlayStation 3, so I've been playing Oblivion occasionally, which is just basic like games that I just love, like in general. But they're like obviously like, from 2008 or whatever. But if it's like new games, I haven't played a new game that's come out in a long time. I'm like a gamer that's like stuck in like the early 2000s, I guess. Because I'm like, no. Bronwyn gets into like Zelda stuff and like Switch stuff, but I'm like, I need to play what I played when I was 10. So let's go back and, play whatever old stuff there is. But Dog's Life, I played that recently. It's
Oh,
from
that's
like 2002, but counts.
yeah, a retro gamer. I love it. Like, which is kind of crazy to think like the PlayStation 2 is a retro console now.
Yeah, because then I'm like, oh, I'm old, but I'm not because I played it when I was like 5. So then I'm like, wow.
Yeah.
But it does like make me go, oh God, like then if someone was born in 2008, they're, I don't know math, but like they're probably like old too, and that's crazy.
Yeah, I think
Like
that's
they're not
like
five.
I think that's like 17 at this point. Like so they're like 2008, like that's 17 years ago almost.
No, that doesn't make sense. Somebody born in 2008 can drive. No,
Yeah.
not to be old, but like that should be a 3-year-old still, and I
I
should
I
be 8.
I feel that. But like, yeah, age is a real weird thing. But anyway, let's get into you, Max LaTour. Why don't you tell my audience who is Max LaTour?
Well, she's the hooker behind the gas station. She's also a cashier at the gas station. She's a slut. Um, and she's kind of embarrassed. And I don't know. I always describe myself as like this crazy, like crackhead, like psycho woman, even though really I don't even probably I don't know if there's many crackhead psycho women that look like this necessarily, but in my head, I'm like I'm like crazy looking. In my head, I look like was it Charlize Theron in Monster? Like I look like a crazy woman with like straggly blonde hair. I look like a Silent Hill nurse
Oh.
in my head. That
No,
that's
I
Max.
well, I think like you looking at your pictures right now, like you have a certain like edge to your drag. Like it's a little bit grunge, it's a little bit punk rock alternative. But there's also like a dash of burlesque in that. What inspires you to like put those concepts in your brain? Like of all the routes you could have taken anyway.
Well, I mean, a lot of my inspiration, just because, like, I mean, me being like, I played video games, I'm playing games from when I was 8 and all this stuff. I definitely hold on to a lot of nostalgia, and like, it was like the peak of my life playing like these weird video games. And I grew up around my parents being like in their 20s when I was a kid. So a lot of my inspiration, the grunge side, is that I like Silent Hill. I love Silent Hill. A friend of mine called me like she was like, "You are like a Silent Hill nurse. Like that's what you get when you walk around and perform." And I was like, "That's the best compliment I've ever gotten." So a lot of the inspiration is from like my childhood, and that's where I kind of grabbed that from. It's like yeah, retro games from like the early 2000s, weird horror aspects. My parents being artists, they were like making weird art, and so I was like gravitating toward that and like this like strange thing. And they listened to Marilyn Manson, so it was like new metal influences of like my parents and like my parents being like a huge influence just because they were weird artists, and that's what they still kind of are, and giant nerds. But oh, and Alien. They loved Alien and all that. So I just grew up around this all these weird, like kind of like body horror, strange things. Even though I was like 8, I was like, Marilyn Manson, hell yeah. Man That I Fear, such a good song. Like that's crazy. Um and stuff. And so yeah, I don't know. I just really pull from that, and then burlesque elements and anything glamour about me is honestly inspired by like all the drag queens around me right now. So the beauty about me is definitely the current situation I'm around and wanting to like definitely conform to some beauty because just being grunge and just being nasty is like kind of boring, kind of just simple. Like I could just be ugly, but then it's like, well, but I want to be pretty at the same time, and that like that's like my old influence of being super crazy and whatever put into like being somewhat marketable too. Being in Oklahoma, people aren't going to be like, that bitch looks ugly and crazy. I love that. I'm going to tip her. Like sometimes they don't want that. Sometimes they like be a little pretty too. And I want to bring that glamour and that whatever, but I still want to hold on to like a Silent Hill nurse. But a Silent Hill nurse, the body is teased, so they're glamour and they're scary. I feel
Yeah.
like that really speaks to what I am. I don't know, just those two things colliding from like past and present.
Yeah, and those Silent Hill nurses, they got the moves too. Like
They
that
got the
they're doing
move.
they're doing the little shake, like twisting and
Mhm, mhm.
like they evoke the house down. Have you done like a Silent Hill nurse before?
I haven't. I really should make a look. I could probably just get like bandages and like dye them with like coffee probably and stuff. I've definitely had bandages and I have like skin suit type of looks that are like beige and weird. But I've never I just walk when I sometimes when I do like new metal songs and I'm feeling my edgy, whatever, I like I tend to like lean back and like my arms are like back.
Mhm,
I don't think I have pictures on my Instagram of me looking like that, but like videos of performances, I will like be like putting my stomach forward and my hips forward and like leaning back and like walking. Strange. I don't even realize I do it until I saw videos. I was like, I literally look like a silent nurse with my arms like this. And I'd be
mhm.
like a little more flowy with it, but I probably should do a number like that because I could easily just perform regular and do it, I guess.
Yeah. Well, Halloween is coming up in 2025.
There you go. We got another one.
Yeah, it's
Halloween
coming
part
up.
two.
Yeah, it's, what? We're almost done with 2024, so that's, yeah, literally 10 months away, so you got time.
I got time. I got time to dye some beige stuff and wrap it around my body.
Mhm. When did you, start doing drag? Because I was looking at your Instagram and, like, you made a post around, I think it was January 23 saying that you started back in March, so I'm assuming you started in 2022?
I started performing in real life in Oklahoma City in 2022. My start was like I did a lot of like bedroom drag because I'm from like Tonkawa, which is like an hour and a half up. It's like really close to Kansas. Um, and it's like a really small town. And so I was doing like makeup and like shitty drag looks like in my room. And I did like an online competition in like 2020 called Jackie's Idol. Plasma was in it.
Oh.
She won, and I could have beat her if I would have just committed to coming to Oklahoma City for a photo shoot. But I was scared because I'd never driven here, and there was no vaccine yet. So I was like, I don't think I want to go around random people. But I should have because I could have won and beat her ass. She might be on RuPaul's Drag Race, but I could have won Jackie's Idol. But anyways, yeah, I've been doing it kind of, I would say, since like 2019 makeup and look wise, but I wasn't like performing in real life, which I feel like is a can be a big aspect of like transforming your drag to like a full drag queen scope of being a
Yeah.
drag queen.
No, I see what you mean. I would count it. Like, we've had a few people on this show that started off in their bedroom and stuff.
Mhm.
I've kinda started off a little bit in my bedroom. I haven't done drag too much, just 2 times, and I'm thinking about a 3rd one coming up right here. But,
Mhm.
like, I think, like, there's an important conversation to have about bedroom queens, especially in, like, this new age of, like, well, I don't even know if it's a new age anymore, but, like, this age of, like, digital, like, social media, influencer
Mhm.
type drag queens. So I think like it's important to like talk about them and how they got their rise up too. But it sounds like you started down that path. And I didn't even know, is Plasma from Oklahoma? Like, is this an Oklahoma
She
show?
is. She is. I don't know why she doesn't talk about it. I feel like every other queen around here would be like, I'm from Oklahoma City, but she's like, I'm from New York. Girl, within the what, 2 years before you got on Drag Race, she is from Oklahoma City. She wants to hide it, but she's one of us. She can't hide it. She's a
I could
hillbilly.
I could see that. I could see that with like her accent and stuff like that. Now that you mention it, that's so funny. um, But kinda going into drag, like, what got you interested in doing drag? Like, where did it I know you said your, parents were, like, arty and, you grew up in around that environment, but, like, when was the first time that you got exposed to drag where you were like, "I wanna do this?"
Honestly, it's kind of a funny, crazy like arc once again, because it once you dive back, it's like complete opposite turnaround. It's very, I don't know. I've gone through so many phases in my life and done so many random things. Um, I started and I my first like view of drag was a like drag kings like random videos of drag kings in like some bar in like Minnesota. I don't know how I found it's on YouTube. I was like 13 And I was, yeah, watching these drag kings perform at different pride things and at the bar and all this stuff. And I was like, that's so cool. I want to do that. And I was like, that's cool. Like, I wanted, because I would always put on a mustache and play stupid characters to my parents and like perform basically drag, just being stupid characters. And so I was like, that's something that these adults are doing. Like, also, like, this could be a future of like performing as these masculine characters is so fun. And then that kind of delved like deeper into things. And so I was like, okay, like, more research into that just randomly because I was so like fascinated with it. And then when you kind of like Google a lot about like how to masculinize like a female body, like you're going to also find other things that aren't necessarily drag. So
Oh,
then that kind of delved because I was like, I want to be a drag king, but like all the time, like day to day, like
mm,
daily. And I'm like, that's something else. That's called being transgender. So then that kind of like delved out of the drag, and I was like, oh. And then I kind of was scared of that, and I was like, let me not look at that no more. And then I guess I was confronting my own gender things, and then sexuality obviously comes in play with that, especially when you're like assuming you're a lesbian and then assuming you're attracted to women only, and then you're like, but I kind of feel like baggy as shit and like probably not like a woman. And it's like that was a very confusing arc for me personally. Um, and then somehow after high school and stuff like that, I was like free to just kind of vibe and do my thing. And then COVID, I was really free to do my thing because I ain't gonna see nobody anyways. I'm
mhm,
just in my house. And so femininity was like a thing that I wanted to explore, and then exploring that through drag because then it's like I'm not having to be a girl about it, not a real girl about it, so I can just be as feminine as I want. And yeah, so my start of drag and seeing drag was like very like based in drag kings somehow when I was like 13 and 14 and like 15. But then I was just like, oh, I don't think I want to be a drag king. I think I just want to be a gay guy. So it's a little different, I guess. But yeah.
oh, that's really interesting. That's really interesting how you found that because, we've had also other people on the show, like, kind of the other way around, where
Mhm.
it's trans women and stuff like
Mhm.
that, but, you kinda saw drag king and he was like, "Oh, I wanna be that, but, like, all the time," you know?
Fully
Um,
my full thought. I was like, "Bitch, that is ridiculous." Like, mm-mm.
that's so funny. I mean, have you done, like, drag king like, I looking at some of your older makeup too, like, you did do a lot of, like, masculine-ish looks in the past, like, do you explore masculinity within your drag at all, or is it all just high femme?
I used to, and occasionally, but sometimes it's just like, I don't know, it's kinda not as interesting now, especially because like, sometimes I would just do it because I was like, "I don't really feel comfortable," like, I didn't always feel comfortable looking like this, especially, like, pre-transitioning in any way. It's like, it was kinda just like I don't know, it'd be a little dysphoria inducing slightly, and sometimes just like, okay, I don't even look like a drag queen. I think I just look like a girl. And then have like having a giant wig and stuff like that also helps be like, okay, this is high femme in a whole different way. But also now I've like taken testosterone for like a few months, 7 or I don't know. I don't keep track. I don't even remember. But like when I started, I'm fake like that. Usually people are like, I have it tattooed on me where I started. And I'm like, I forgot. But anyways, I feel more comfortable now being high femme, but sometimes I like to delve into the masculinity. I don't know if I ever did drag king looks back then a ton. I did. I was like when I was 13, so it was bad. It was like a cheap Dollar Tree eyeshadow palette, and I would like the little, the little
Mm.
foam applicator,
Oh, yeah,
putting a mustache on with that and eyebrows. Yeah, and like the weird forehead thing they do sometimes. It was bad. I don't know if I have pictures. If so, they're like on an iPhone 4 or something.
mhm. No, I'm just looking I'm scrolling through, I mean, like, some of them kinda it 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 delves into more club kid, I would say,
Mhm.
like kind of looks like non-binary, he, she, we, they, them, you
Mhm,
know? Like
mhm.
like I wouldn't necessarily call it man or woman drag,
Mhm.
you know what I if you know what I mean.
Yeah, definitely within the time of like being in Oklahoma City, it was yeah, just kind of like an androgynous thing. Because also my view of Max LaTour, it always changes, and I feel like this character of Max LaTour, of course, Max LaTour is me. I'm not necessarily a person to be like. Some people are like, "Oh, honey, Cheryl's coming out tonight," and it's like, "Girl, you're Cheryl." Like, it's like they put a secondary like person to their drag. Um, but I feel like Max LaTour is a lot of things and things that aren't even necessarily shown in like my whole look. Like Max LaTour is like Max LaTour is everything. Max LaTour is a lot of things. So Max LaTour could have a mustache if she wanted. She might not, because then that's a little too, well, yeah, he, she, we, they, them, but maybe,
Yeah.
maybe if the people want it. I don't know.
No, that's sickening. Where does the name Max LaTour come from? Like, are like not to clock you out of drag, but like, is that just your first name out of drag?
No, I just go by Zoe. That's,
Mhm.
just Zo. Um, I'm real creative on changing my name. No, I'm really not. I mean, I just like a Z name and I don't really want to be called like Zach or something. But my drag name just comes from like I was listening to a lot of what's it called? House music, I guess, like 90s house, weird electronic gay shit. Um when I started like really diving into Max LaTour like by concept in like 2019. And LaTour is a band. They have uh, uh I don't know, a song called Cold Blue. There's uh people are still having sex or something. I don't know. Weird like, I guess EDM house type music. And then Max is also a group. So it was just two groups that I liked the songs of, and I also always loved the name Max. It also goes back to like childhood. Max was like my alternate persona, kind of, just with one X. Just like I loved the name Max. So it's kind of surprising I didn't change my name to Max, but that just was a lot of work, and I don't want to have to like pay for a name change. Like, come on. That's too different from my name. But Max has always been a name I liked. I would name characters in video games Max and play as like this is I ramble, but my mom would play Half-Life, and there's Morgan Freeman, or not Morgan, Gordon Freeman, or yeah,
Gordon
Gordon
Freeman. Yeah.
Freeman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Gordon
not
Freeman.
Gordon Freeman, the character, I would be like, well, I'm Max Freeman and I'm his brother. And it's not two player, but I would pretend that I was playing the game by like imagining that I was while she played it. I don't fucking know how I did that, but I was like, yeah, well, I would be over here doing this while you were doing that. Like,
Yeah.
annoying as fuck. But I wanted to play a video game so desperately that I would imagine myself playing it. But I would play as Max Freeman imaginatively. So I've always loved the name Max. And so then seeing the group with Max with two X's, I was like, that's cunty. So I'm gonna be Max with two X's. And then I was like, Latour is an amazing group. Y'all should listen, by the way. Um, and so I said, Max LaTour, that sounds like a name. And it kind of sounds like my early idea in 2019, 2020 was that I was like an alien cowgirl. Girl, I don't know. And like, so, I don't know. So not what I am right now, I feel like, but I had like a country vibe about me or whatever. And I feel like a French name is very like old Western cowboy thing. They would have like French names, and so Latour, I feel like also fit with that. But it works now too. I love my name.
Yeah. That's really fascinating that you mentioned that. I thought Latour just came from like Latour de France, you know, like because it means, the tour. And I was like, oh, she's Max. And like, the tour. Like this is we're getting a grand tour of like all her drag and stuff like that. I didn't like it had a much more fascinating you had a much more fascinating backstory to it than mine.
I mean, that works too. That
Mhm,
works too. You know, yeah, no, I didn't even think about that. I just saw two names and I was like, I already like this name and it's a little edgier, adding one letter. But then I was like, oh, Latour is cool, so let me just
mhm.
pick that. Yeah.
Yeah, you were right about Max. There's something sexy about Max. Even as a kid,
Cool.
like I gravitated towards the name Max as well. It's just like it's not a common name, you know?
It's not common. It's also androgynous. But it's kind of still masculine. That's also what I liked about it. Like once I started like exploring like androgyny and getting into femininity and also masculinity, I was like, Max is like actually androgynous because then there's like girls named Max, like video games and shit. But it's still not common. But it's also kind of like early 2000s edgy, I feel like. So I feel like people like that grew up in that era also like Max is such like a specific thing. Because I'm like, you don't think of Max being like a really old name, maybe Maxwell, but like it's kind of a modern name too. I don't
Mm,
know. It's kind of
yeah. It felt like all the Maxes that I've ever seen were always like the bad boy or the bad girl, like
mhm.
in the movie.
Always edgy, always like, I'm gonna smoke a cigarette.
Mhm.
I don't know. Yeah.
Exactly. You did mention country, and actually, that's what I wanted to bring up because, like, scrolling through your Instagram, and it's fitting because you're from Oklahoma. I'm seeing some ranch pictures, like you on a ranch and stuff like that. Are you a cowboy?
I sure am, motherfucker. Yeah, Tonkawa is really small, has like a population of 2,000, which sounds like a lot. There's like, we don't have a Walmart, and that's really fucked up. Bronwyn is from a town that has a Walmart, so she can't act like she's small town because she is a goddamn Walmart. We have a Dollar General, we have a Chinese restaurant, um, we have like a hardware store, we have like nothing. We do have a college, but where there's like nothing in Tonkawa. But my grandparents are ranchers. So I grew up um, taking care of, watching. I didn't do a lot hands-on because I was a little, prissy and kind of like didn't want to do a lot. But I would go on trail rides. So I've ridden horses. I've I would ride around in the truck while they would take care of cattle, and all that. So I've grown up around all the farm stuff, and yeah. There's pictures of me on like horses when I was like, I don't know, 8, instead of playing a video game, I would occasionally ride a horse through the woods. But yeah, I grew up around that, so that's also like a big influence from it being like, oh, it's like Western, oh, that's cool because nobody's doing that. But then I'm like, I don't know if I'm that inspired by that necessarily, but it was a big part of my childhood, like being around barns and cows and horses and stuff.
Mhm. No, it reminded me of a movie that I saw, National Anthem, which is a gay cowboy movie,
Oh,
and I don't think they were in Oklahoma. I think it was more Texas area, but it's about gay ranchers. And this one guy, like he's not necessarily like doing like a coming out thing or whatever, but it just meets a lovely trans woman on the ranch and he's fallen in love. And it's a very interesting movie because it really like dived into you know that aspect of queer culture that you don't really get to see a lot of. Do you know a lot of like queer again, like going into the cowboy when you said like that's not really your inspiration, but as a city slicker up
mhm.
in the Pacific Northwest, I am curious. Do you know any queer ranchers out there in Oklahoma?
I mean, in Tonkawa, there was like no queer people really. I mean, people definitely, everyone and most humans are queer in some way. People aren't like, I'm a girl, so I wear lipstick. Like that is very unrealistic to most normal humans. But I really like it was pretty regular and pretty nothing there. And so I kind of, you then have an idea that, yeah, like most queer people are probably like, well, I have to wear the mesh crop top and my booty shorts and go to the gay club and dance to Ariana Grande, like, or whatever. But yeah, like, there is like in Oklahoma City, it's opened my mind to like there are a lot of other queer people because we're in Oklahoma, so a lot of queer people have grown up like me and maybe even more involved because my grandparents were, ranchers, but my parents weren't. If my parents were ranchers, I would probably have an even more like different outlook because I would only spend so much time with them. But some people, they've grown up as like they were ranchers, they've done this. So in Oklahoma City, there's a bar called the County Line, and it's like a Western, like it's within like this district hotel, which has a bunch of bars now, but it's like a country bar, and there are straight up cowboys who, yeah, you would probably assume are straight, and you're like, get out of here. They're gay. They're all gay. And there's a gay rodeo in Oklahoma
Oh,
that
wow.
travels around and does their thing. And yeah, they're all gay, and it's just a regular, I mean, it's just like a regular rodeo. So they have gay people can have regular rodeos too, but it's literally regular. It's just like they do the same events, different roping things, all that stuff. And they have their little fun events where they, put a sheep in drag and all that, little things. But it's still like a regular competitive rodeo, like straight people have. But it's, yeah, Gay Rodeo Association or something. I don't know, GR something, something. But yeah, so there's a lot of like queer people that are like within that like culture of whatever because being gay, of course, doesn't make you like any certain thing like sexuality. So there's a lot of Western people, which is really cool to see, honestly. Um, because yeah, if there's not a heavy Western demographic in a place, you would assume like, well, where are these people at? Because they got to be gay, somewhere. Like, where are they at? But they stay here and they're still very country. These people have cowboy hats on and they'll just look like a goddamn rodeo in there. But yeah.
Yeah. I have to see that before I
Hmm.
die, because uh the hipster slash going to California a bunch of times, like the hipster slash, Western United States um culture, queer culture, like I've been super oversaturated and exposed to that already. I'm very curious about the South, especially with all the laws and stuff going on, and like how queer people are like living in those areas, but specifically like how a lot of queer people take um the culture of like the rodeo and stuff like that, that is primarily in cis straight, like Americana, and like how they've been able to take and transform that. Like I'm very curious to see it. And like I think that's why I like National Anthem a lot, because it really just exposed a certain part of queer culture that I'm just totally out of in the dark about. Like I've never seen before.
Hmm. Yeah, and I don't know. It's interesting because I mean, I've traveled to California like once, like in August was like my only time, and then besides that, I haven't really left here much. And I grew up in Oklahoma, like or in Tonkawa, like my whole life, so I haven't really seen like major like what it's like. I mean, because people outside of this, especially with seeing laws and seeing like news articles, people, I don't know if people think maybe like we're like hiding and we're like, ah, like it's 19, 50 and we're scared. But like it is like pretty chill. I mean, there's definitely like laws and annoying people, but I feel like conservative people are kind of pussies and like they'll say a lot of shit on Facebook, but bitch, they're not like chasing us down all the time. There's definitely some shitty people, but like we have like 39th Street, a bunch of like it's a big gay district. There's a bunch of gay bars and stuff. So there's I don't know, there's like a whole area for queer people, and I guess that's different because in other places like everywhere is kind of just gay and everywhere is queer friendly and everywhere is like liberal to where we have like a street and a block and a little community for it. which I guess is kind of like old fashioned because most places it's just like this is all gay, or this is all just, or it's all mixed and it's everyone's just coming in and out. To where our area is kind of like this is the gay area where the
Mm.
gay bars are. Um, but yeah, I don't know. It is interesting though because there is a big, wide culture of different people. There's people that could be in California and you think they'd belong there, and there's people that if they went to California would be like, "You're too country. What are you?" You know, there's like every type of person out here. But a lot of people move from places to Oklahoma, so we have a
Oh,
really diverse, like I don't know, drag scene and just scene of people in the gay community.
oh, sick. You did bring up your trip to California, which is one of the manifestations that I was giving to, like, Bronwyn specifically. I didn't know you too well, but I figured you would also be blessed in that area of, like, touring and going to a different city to perform drag, and you just recently had well, not recently, I guess it was in August, but, you went to California to perform, and that was both your first time, wasn't it? Like, performing out of Oklahoma, like, what was that like? Or and how did you get that opportunity?
Well, Vivi, the Force, she
Oh,
had a costumes like shop. She had that in Oklahoma City in the gay district, just like within all of it. They have like little shops occasionally that switch out every once in a while. But she had her whips and furs there, and I didn't really know much about her and where she was really from, and I was still like super new to Oklahoma City, so I interacted with her some. But Bronwyn did like Brennan had done a little competition show that she had, I think she was hosting and stuff like that at Angles, just a club like a little down the street from where they had Whips and Furs. And um, but yeah, we knew Vivi since yeah, like 2022 then just through her living here because her partner, I think her partner is connected to Oklahoma, and so that's why they were here. And then they moved back and um, they were like, hey, like you guys need to visit and come and be in the show. And we're like, yes. Because we're like, that will be expensive, but we never go anywhere and we've never been anywhere. So we should just go. It was cool. We should have stayed longer. We kind of packed the trip into like, I don't even know how long it was. It wasn't even a week, it was a couple days. And it was like, it was hellish, honestly, to like, we rented a car. So we flew into San Diego. We hung out for that day. Next day was the show. We performed, slept, woke up, drove to LA, drove around LA, had a hotel room. We were going to go out to the clubs, and I could not do it because I had driven us to LA for 2 hours. And it was like, we had like maybe an hour to rest, and then we would have to get into drag and go out to the clubs. And I was like, Bronwyn, I'm gonna fucking die. I can't do this shit. I was so exhausted. I don't know why I thought I was just gonna be like cracked out and like energetic to like drive nonstop and then just get in drag. But yeah, it was awful. It was great, but it was also awful and like tiring how much I how much I did. But then we did wake up the next day and we went around and like walked around like Hollywood Boulevard because our I got us a hotel that was like the Godfrey, so it was right by the Star Walk and all that. So we got to see the sights. We got to be tourists, but we did not get to be hookers in LA
oh, damn.
because it was painful. But it was still a really good trip, and it was a good learning experience that I should stay for like a week and a half or something next time. I should get an Airbnb and just like stay for enough time that I can rest and party and not like be like, so we're gonna do this in 4 days. No,
Mhm.
no, that shit almost killed me. It was so much. Mm-mm.
Yeah. No, I love LA. I haven't done too much partying in Los Angeles myself. I've been to a few bars, but I usually go for the theme parks and to meet my friend Osty and their partner. Not to name drop or anything, but their partner Acacia Forgot, who's on season 17 of Drag Race. Like I get to visit them and like hang out with them and stuff like that. But I the last time I partied actually was the Boulé Ball. I went there for Halloween, and it's it was such a it's fun experience, and I got to be in drag that time, so that was very sickening, but next time y'all gotta party, not just party, but y'all need to go to, Universal Studios. I'm surprised, like, Bronwyn and I were talking about that, and, um, to go to the Super Nintendo World.
I know it. My mom always talks about Universal too. She'd be jealous because she's literally for like years she's been like, "Ah, we should go to Universal, but whatever. We should vacation at Universal." I'm like, "Girl, then go." Like, damn. But yeah, we went to the beach a little bit too, but like, yeah, we didn't give ourselves time for much. But I was afraid I wouldn't be able to get off work. But then I was like, "Can I have 4 days off?" And they were like, "Yeah, whatever." And I was like, "Oh, I should have asked for more. Shit." This year I'm gonna be like, "Okay, you guys are giving me 2 weeks off in the middle of the summer. Now, I don't care we're busy. Now, because
Okay.
it would be wonderful. I loved California. It was, it was, bitch. It gets hot here in
Mm,
Oklahoma in the summer. So hot. Now we did have a little we stopped the flight in like Arizona or something and it was like 106 out and I could feel it through the little the thing, little
mm,
hallway onto the plane and I was like, "Oh, hell no. That is worse." But it was like solidly like 100, 101 every day. In California, it's like 75. We were standing outside and with BB and her partner, and they were like, "Oh, it's hot out. We gotta go inside." And I was like, "Bitch, it's 75 with a breeze. What do you mean it's hot? I was cold." And so, perfect weather. I don't care if an earthquake cracks me off and I get drifted into the ocean. I want to be in California. I think that's where I want to live, honestly.
mhm.
I'm
That's
over
what
it. I'm
that's
about
what
to
I'm
get a
thinking too.
stick and a handkerchief, put my shit in there, and go because it was
Mhm.
nice.
Yeah, that's on my list of, like, I'm planning to move next year, and it's between Seattle and Los Angeles, so I'm right there with you. I love Los Angeles, but I feel like I've experienced Los Angeles as a tourist rather than Seattle where, you know, Washington is where I'm from, and I've been to Seattle so many times,
Mhm.
and I'm more familiar with that area, so it's kind of like a balancing act. Going back to your performance in Los Angeles, like, tell us about it. Like, how did it go, basically?
It was cute. It was nice. It was at the EQ. It was in San Diego because it was with BB. So she just
Mhm,
had it at the EQ where she has her um show. I think it's just maybe it's every Thursday, I think. Um and it was cute. It was chill. It was nice. There was a lot of I don't know, it was interesting meeting queens from like a whole other state too. Was even more interesting than like the performance. It was just like being backstage and like talking to people. Most of them were from around there, which is crazy to me. That
mm,
these bitches just grew up in California and just grew up in San Diego. I'm like, bitch, what the fuck? I had to come from Tonkawa, Oklahoma, and you get to be here just by default is evil. But yeah, it was crazy. People were just chill, honestly. It felt like any other dressing room. We thought it would be like monumentally like different and everything would be crazy. But honestly, it felt regular. It felt chill. It felt like any show. It's just drag queens. I don't know. I feel like that with everything now. It's just like I feel like I can meet probably even we saw a Lady Bunny show recently and I was like she's incredible, but also just like this is another drag queen. Like all of us are just drag queens, and it's really not that scary. Even if someone's from a whole different thing, it's like that's a drag queen, and we're all just faggots and wigs. But there was one girl that was like from like kind of Midwest, like whatever similar area to us. I'm not sure, I don't remember where, but it was like kind of cool also interacting with her because then she wasn't from there and she was like, "Oh yeah, just come here," and so that was cool too because then I was like, okay, a bitch that isn't just you know privileged getting to live here, like somebody who's moved here, and so that was like really cool. Just interacting with the queens backstage was like, I don't know, the coolest part. I feel like just being, "Oh, all these people are just regular people like me, even though they're fancy Californians. They're just like me." You know.
Yeah, that's how I feel about where I grew up. I grew up in Saudi Arabia, and I'm half Saudi because from my father's side, but I also ended up being born in Seattle, which it's like you grew up in like one of the worst places for people, gay people in the world, and now you currently are also from, and you currently reside in an area. Spokane, you can like argue like there's really not a lot of queer culture here honestly. But you grew up in another side of the world that is one of the most accepting places for queer people, at least in the United States anyway. So it's really interesting how that works out for a lot of people. That's how I feel about Californians too. It's like, damn, I could have lived in Los Angeles. Like, why did I have to be here in Saudi Arabia?
Like, fuck these bitches. I'm gonna like transplant, like, I don't know, go back in time and I don't know, teleport. I don't fucking know. Yeah, that's crazy. That is crazy though.
Mm-hmm.
That's like that is even more of a dramatic difference than
Yeah.
Tonkawa. So like, yeah, that's awesome though. That's like I don't know. I
Yeah.
feel like that's a really cool perspective. That's the kind of because I really connected with that one girl that was like kind of Midwest, like kind of area. Because I was like, these other people are cool, but like, it's a whole different thing, and I feel like a whole different appreciation of where you are then. Because some people, it feels like they're just kind of like, yeah, I'm here, and I've always been here, and it's like that's cool, but also there is something special about being from somewhere different, no matter how different on levels, but it can be like I don't know, you appreciate where you are then because you can really tell that that one queen that was from a different place was very appreciative that she was in this space and like
Mhm.
also way more like not that they weren't personable, but like way more like talkative and like southern, I guess, like where we're kind of more like, hey, what's up, and like interacting with each other, a little more old fashioned. We're not like kind of scared or like distant. Like we're way more like, hey, what's up to people. We're not like, I don't know. So
Yeah.
where people in big cities can be like a little scared or a little like cold because like it's a scary place. So you kind of have to like get this level of distance with some people. But I don't know. People, Midwest people are just like, hey,
Yeah, that's how I feel when I meet other queer Arabs because it's like, wait, so we're the same.
mhm,
We're like probably like our cultures are a little bit different. Like
mhm,
Arabs, there's a lot of different subsect of Arabs, but like, our struggles are the same as
mhm,
queer Arabs. And it's like I see you and like I always get it. We both get it like very excited when we encounter each other.
mhm.
So it's just like, it's very rare in like those areas. Like you grew up in like that small town. What was it called again?
It's called Tonkawa.
Tonqua. Okay. Yes. You grew up in Tonqua. It's a very tongue twister. I'll probably ask you again what it's called.
No, you're good.
um, and Tonqua didn't have a lot of queer people. So like seeing someone from the adjacent area, like the Midwest and stuff like that, like you just connect with them better, even though they're not from the same town. Just kind of how I'm like with other Arabs, a lot of Lebanese Arabs. You never really see a Saudi Arab. Saudi, sorry, what am I saying? Lebanese queer Arabs. That's what I meant to say. You don't see a lot of Saudi queer Arabs. That's like finding a needle in a haystack.
Yeah, that's got to be even more specific. That's like that's even crazier. Where there's a lot of just hillbillies all over the place, so I can find them. I can find them somewhere.
Mhm. Yeah, we can whenever I find a Saudi hillbilly, like the Bedu is what we call them, the nomads, um that'll get me so excited because, I am a Bedu. Like my my tribe and everything, like they grew up or they live in kind of like a ranch area. Like, there's no horses or anything. I've been to, like, our little tribe, and, but there's a lot of sheep, a lot of goats, a lot of killing those goats to eat, which that was very interesting to see, because that's a big part of the culture, so, um, yeah, I can relate to that just a little bit, even though it's from all the way across the country, all the way across half the world, you know?
You know, a hillbilly is a hillbilly. Just around a
Exactly.
bunch of animals, you know. They
Yeah.
exist all over the place.
Yeah, except with hillbillies, at least they live on grass and, there's mountains and, there's
Not in Oklahoma, there ain't no mountains.
the prairie,
Flat.
y
Flat and
flat.
squally. Tornadoes everywhere.
That's fair. Saudi Arabia is just desert, sand everywhere. Um, Going back to your performance, did you also like, you performed with, Charity Case, right? Like,
Mhm.
in that show. What was that like working with a Rue girl?
That was kinda crazy. I honestly haven't kept up on Drag Race for a long time. I'm kind of behind by, like, probably 10 seasons, at this point, but, Bronwyn knows everybody, so I didn't watch anything of honestly, I don't think I've seen any UK's Drag Race, but she was staying at Vivi's, and so it was cool to just meet somebody, and I was like, "Hey," I was like, "What's up?" And we were just yeah, we honestly, like, as Bronwyn would say, we really, like, kikied with the girls, like, she was cutting up with, Charity Case. They were, like by the, like, point that we were, like, getting in makeup for the show and stuff, because we were still at Vivi's getting ready, and they were shady to each other. They were like harassing each other, and I was like, "This is crazy," because like she's literally like been on RuPaul's Drag Race, and you two are like being catty and silly with each other. She was super sweet though. It was really cool just meeting somebody and being like,
Uh,
"Hey," was
yeah,
chill.
and I feel like her type of drag too would work on Dragula, so I hope,
Mhm,
like, I think with her season specifically, not to go off on a tangent, it wasn't really appreciated on a RuPaul's Drag Race, like, platform, even though I thought she did really good on her season. I would love to see her on Dragula.
mhm,
I would think she would eat on Dragula.
mhm. Yeah, I feel like Dragula definitely they need to like they could get a lot of people. They need to push their promotion. They need to get big like RuPaul's Drag Race. A lot of people end up preferring RuPaul's Drag Race. If they can get on it, they will because it has more following and it has more payout. And so they need to like hustle that shit and get a lot because they really could like they could get some big people. There are some people that really I don't know if I guess it goes the other way because like if you're on Dragula, then Drag Race is probably like I don't want you, but if you're on Drag Race, you can probably
Yeah,
yeah, you can still do Dragula. But I'm like, yeah, no, she would eat on it, and she's like, yeah, I don't know. I think she's got to eat. She's fierce.
exactly.
And like, yeah,
Speaking of Dragula, you and Bronwyn hosted a Dragula viewing party on at the Block in Oklahoma. That was that your first like I can't recall, but like was that your first time hosting something like that before?
it was. I've been on the mic like a little bit at like we have a show called Era that we're doing. I have a poster right there.
Oh, sweet.
Um, but yeah, not really like full on like hosting and like running a show. So that is the first show that we've had, which is nice to have a watch party as their first show because here it can be pretty stressful. Like, because we only have like a guest, so we have one spot each night. If I had to book more than one, bitch, I would be losing my mind. Like, that would be so much, especially weekly, like having to change it out. I would go crazy. But it's nice. We got one guest spot. Yeah, and it's both of our first times like having a show, really. I mean, we've done like I think Brownman had like a pride thing back in her hometown and she kind of hosted that a little bit and stuff. But like this is our first thing in Oklahoma City that we're actually like hosting ourselves. Um and it's been cool. It's been cool just to like it really elevates you. I was thinking about it earlier. Elevates you to like a real professional level and work level with drag. To where doing shows for other people and just being a performer, a little bit, it kind of pushes me a little. I'm like, okay, I need to promote this so people show up for me. Doing an open talent, bitch, I'm not getting paid. I'm not, I mean, I'll do good, but I'm not like touring it out and doing all the 9 yards. And I don't have to organize anything. I just have to give the DJ my song and we're done and perform. But having your own show, even though it's just a watch party, finding the girls, communicating with the, bar owner, all this stuff, it has brought like this level of like, I really feel like drag is like a job now. And it feels like way more serious. Also makes me feel fierce. I'm like, my show, oh my show. Like it
Mhm.
feels so cool. But yeah, it's our first little thing.
Yeah, and speaking of the professionalism, I mean, you got the attention of, like, Jaharia, who was on the show while she was performing, which was kind
Mhm.
of sickening. You booked her twice for that, that stint of shows that you were doing, like, that was probably crazy.
It was cool. It was really nice. Well, she was in town for Monster Extreme. It's like a pageant that's like scary horror stuff.
Oh,
Um, and it was like the Nationals or something was there, and so in like it was in the district, which was on 39th Street, and our friends were messaging us like, "Hey, like she's gonna be in town. You should message her like to be in the show." And so yeah, we hit her up and we were like, "Let's see if she will," because it was like that was on like a weekend night or something, and then our show was on a Tuesday, so we're like, hopefully she will want to stay several days and she'll be already around to be able to do our show. And yeah, we organized things, got things worked out, and got her in. And it was a big turnout. I was like, I hope people like acknowledge that like we have a queen from the season at this show. And it was a big turnout. There's people I hadn't seen at the show yet, and I was like, so now you want to show up. Wow. No, but it was really cool. It was really awesome. Just like bringing a bunch of people together and a bunch of fans of the show to it. And it was awesome that it got the reach. Because people that I don't even like, sometimes I'll be like, this person comes regularly and I follow them and we're like mutuals. So I'm like, we're basically friends and I know this person. But there's people I don't even follow on Instagram and I don't even know if they follow me. So it was just people seeing the flyer and coming because she
mm,
was there. And I was like, that's cool. And I'm like,
that's
bitch, I want to be on TV. What? People
mm.
just show up because I'm there. It's very cool. But yeah, it was a good turnout and it was awesome having her there. And she turned it out and she was super sweet and it was awesome.
Oh, yeah. No, that was so great. When I saw that, I was so happy for you guys. Like, that was such a big get, especially, like, for your first viewing party and stuff like that, to have someone,
Mhm.
like, from the TV at your show.
Mhm.
I remember when I first booked, like, Erica Clash on this show, and I was like, "Oh, this is becoming something." But, like, I think it really became something when Sigourney Beaver agreed to be on the show, and I
Mhm.
was like, "This episode's not only good, but, like, people are gonna watch this now, like, for
Mhm.
real." The views, like, were kind of the same or whatever, but, like, now I get to, like, tell people, like, "Oh, yeah, we had Sigourney Beaver on the show. Yeah, it's no big deal. Whatever."
A little something. It was easy.
Yeah. Um, what was the one thing what was the best part about doing that viewing party? And, what was the least favorite part? Like, the thing that you learned from doing it that you'll bring into because 'cause you're gonna be doing season 17 now for Drag Race.
Mhm. I mean, I loved just like just getting to say I have a show. Also, a steady gig is nice because the little show we were doing, that was just like a collective of like 9 or 10 of us, and that was monthly, and it was regular pay around here is like $75 with tips, and so that was monthly though. So I was like, you know, I'm gonna spend my whole thing just buying materials and buying stuff and whatever. So $75 is like gone and drag in like an instant. But um being a weekly gig, it's like consistent drag. I get good practice doing all the drag stuff. Probably though, I guess my favorite thing really is just like feeling professional with it, not necessarily getting paid. I don't care about money. I care about the art. No, but feeling professional and feeling like I am making, first of all, a consistent income in drag, which it is important for your art to like make you money, especially if you want to do it for like a living and you don't want to work, food service or whatever. It's like it makes you feel like a professional. You're making something from it. It's a job, it's a career. And it's like, I mean, it's America. So if you make money from it, it must be important.
Mhm.
And so that that is my favorite part, just feeling professional, feeling kind. And I'm like, ugh, I'm a businesswoman. Um, Least favorite part, uh, working is hard, and it was intense. It was intense weekly, even though it needs to be weekly for it to feel like a job and to feel like consistent and professional. That is intense because
Mhm.
the weeks go by faster and faster and faster. So toward the end, it was like I'd go to sleep and I'd wake up and I was like, oh, another viewing. And so it was just like so fast that at a point, I was like, starting out, I was like, I'm gonna have a new outfit every week. No, the fuck you aren't, bitch, because you blinked and you worked a job for like one day and now it's suddenly the day of. Um, so it was hard to keep up with. So
Mm.
my least favorite part was it was tiring, like any job. But I'm excited though, because it still is like great to feel professional. Because my regular job in food service is also exhausting and annoying, but I like feeling professional and feeling like secure and financially and feeling like I'm doing something. But it's even better because with drag, it's at least my art, and I get to be pussy and slay, and I'm not just like, hmm, I'm on a taco truck. That's no, that's not fun. But it's cunty to like feel professional.
Yeah, especially, like because 'cause you're, like, hella young too, like, to have your own show and stuff like that and to put it on,
Mhm,
a resume, or if you ever did wanna do, like, a TV show or something like that and say, like, "Yeah, I'm a professional drag queen,"
mhm,
like, based on, the merits that we as a capitalistic society have said, like, you need to, like,
mhm.
have a show and book all these drag queens and stuff like that. You can say that now, which is, like, very cool. It's like how I can say that I'm an award-winning podcast host because I did win an award. It was local, but, I have the trophy right here.
It counts, and then it counts even more if it's local. It's like these people really know me, and they
Mhm,
really think that I'm that slay.
mhm.
Yeah, no, it's really cool. It really feels, yeah, elevating and cool. And this bar, I mean, they have the bartender there, she's a like burlesque performer. And
Ooh.
so it's really that's also cool. Just like another performer person behind the bar just being like, hey, what's up guys? And like, knowing her a little bit and stuff. And um but this bar, I mean, they have some burlesque shows occasionally, but they just have karaoke, regular stuff, trivia, the regular bar things. And so we are like the only weekly drag show there. And it's downtown. This isn't even on 39th Street.
Mhm.
And so that is even cooler because then it's like, oh, you guys have a show at the gay bar that has all kinds of drag shows? Well, hmm, can come out to a special, unique place for us. Yeah, it feels like that feels like a big deal. Because then it's also like kind of nice too. Because gay people, we're too much. We all think we're the main character in the star. So I'm like, I need to be in my own little area from y'all because you'll drive me crazy sometimes. So it's nice to be like in our own area. Feels like even cooler, exclusive.
No, yeah, that's sickening. We have 2 more questions for you before we get into the lightning round section, but, since you, uh, are doing this season 17 showcase with, Bronwyn, what are you taking from the Dragula viewing party into season 17? And, like, maybe, are you booking it who are you booking for the show? Like, have you thought that far ahead? I mean, as of recording, it's next week.
It is. It is.
Mm.
Yeah, it snuck up on us fast. I'm like, oh shit. We're kind of like rushing stuff out right now. And we need to make like official promo soon. I have the dress on the floor that I'm working on right now. I need to finish that so I can like have a nice picture of us. Because right now we just have regular promo up. But yeah, we have. I was like, okay, Bronwyn, we have to start writing down who we want to book because I want to have that planned out. Last time we had like half of it planned out, and then we had to ask for the rest of it, which worked out for the case of Jaharia. Thank God, because I was like, oh, we don't have anybody booked yet, so we can have her. But I I kind of assume there probably will not be a season 17 queen just happening to be in town, and if so, whatever, we'll have two guests then. That's fine. But we've planned out. I think we've gotten most people agreed to be in it. So it's a lot of local people, but we are reaching out to a lot of different people. Because last time it was like Dragula. Dragula doesn't have as big of a following, especially in Oklahoma City. So some people I was like, I don't know if they'll agree to be in it if they don't think it'll be a huge turnout and stuff. And so we asked also people that are spooky and all these things that fit a Dragula idea. But with Drag Race, we can book whoever we want because it's Drag Race and they have all kinds of, they have a billion franchises and a billion different people. So we're reaching out to a lot of like, also a lot of people that are like, been like rooted in the scene for a long time in Oklahoma City. So that's really cool. But it's just, yeah, local people, but a lot more like interesting, like different local people. So I'm excited. So it's different people. Last time it was kind of a set, like, kind of knew who was coming. But this time we have a whole menagerie. I'm excited to work
Yeah.
with all kinds of people.
And it's a longer, show than Dracula too, so you'll be doing it for what was season I think season 16, it was, like, 2 or 3 months, like, it was a long time.
Yeah, I kind of didn't think about that part because I was like, okay, planning it out. I was like, okay, like January, oh February, and I was like, oh March, oh early April. Okay, so yeah, it's what like usually like 16 episodes, and that's weekly. It
Mhm,
literally will probably last till like early April, which
mhm,
hey,
booked and
consistent
blessed.
booking for like 3.5 months. Come on now, like it's
Love
cute.
that.
It'll be really nice.
And, things might happen, you may get a season 17 girl on the show, you know?
We might be like,
Yeah,
who's coming to Oklahoma City? They're like, I'm scared. No,
yeah,
maybe. I mean, we have pageants around here all the time. Even in Tulsa, there's all kinds of pageants that come through and different things. So honestly, you never know. I really did not expect at all a Dracula girl. I probably would have been like, who's coming? Is Vivi coming to see us? No, this is like just somebody happens to be in the town,
mhm,
and we just scooped it up. I was like,
yeah.
ugh, perfect.
You should get Acacia. If you're not familiar with Acacia, like, her whole aesthetic is country, you know?
Um,
Yeah, so she might actually be interested.
that would be cool. That would be really awesome. Yeah, I'll have to. Also, I'll probably. I'm like these bar owners. I'm like, y'all saw that turnout. We need to crank up. We need to crank this budget up a little there and be like, whoa. But no, it would be really cool to have somebody from the season. I think that could like also bring out probably even bigger of a crowd. It was big for
Mhm,
a Dracula girl. It brought all these people out of the woodworks. It would be insane. I think like everyone would come. It would
mhm,
be wild.
yeah. I I definitely agree with that, and especially if you do a meet and greet and stuff like that, make it really,
Mhm.
appeal to those,
Mhm.
RuPaul Drag Race fangirls.
Mhm.
Yeah,
We have
no,
a
that's
RuPaul cut out. We're like, RuPaul is here.
yeah, and it's just, Milk in from season 6.
Oh yeah, yeah, and like some glasses. I'm like, close
Exactly.
enough, right? I don't know.
So, with season 17 coming up and that, your watch party at the block, your last question for the interview before we get into lightning round. What is 2025 look like for Max LaTour? I'll tell you one that I hope for you. I want y'all to come to Washington. I feel like you and Bronwyn, yeah, you would eat up Washington.
Should we need to, yeah, travel even just outside like the main, like, 'cause I'm always like, oh, California, LA. But yeah, there is definitely some like little pockets. I know Chicago is like really
Mm,
crazy and has all kinds of stuff. But yeah, we need to come visit and like see the scene and see the sights because I think there's pockets of like really interesting drag and really interesting like people like especially up there is like really cool. And yeah, that would be cunty.
yeah, but what about you? What do you want to happen in 2025?
I don't know. I feel like right now I've like finally settled into like knowing an aesthetic and knowing like how I feel about drag and how I feel about like my art and stuff. So I feel like I'm finally at a level where I can really start. Also, I've gotten better at like I feel like making stuff. I finally learned how to make corsets and all that. um, and realizing that it's really not that hard. I just have to like actually do it. Like, and then once you do it like once or twice, it's like, oh, it's really not that crazy. It's just like literally just putting in the effort. Um, because sewing, once you know the basics, it pretty much follows from there, and then just some basic math. But definitely creating more stuff. I need to create more looks because I really don't have a lot of like. I have a lot of drag, but half of it doesn't really fit me anymore or like I mean it fits me but it doesn't fit like how I feel like about my aesthetic and some of it's just kind of ugly because I used to like my underwear. I used to like but none of them really work. Half of them don't work anyways because I'm like I used to like wear Packer. I'd be like, oh, like I'm androgynous. No, I don't. And so I'm just like, well, here's these for Bronwyn. I don't want to do that anymore. So I need to make like whole new outfits and like keep production of like outfits ongoing because I can only get better at making outfits that way, and also it will just elevate my aesthetic and like keeping something different consistently, especially for a weekly show, but also social media wise, I can actually post more often. I kind of post like maybe twice a month, I feel like on Instagram half the time. So I can like pump out content that way and pump out outfits and looks and stuff. Also, I need to like find out a way of um, making money from my drag more, honestly, making money from my art so that I don't have to rely solely on food service. Bronwyn, I think, feels the same way. She's like trying to get into like commissions and, bookings and all these things. My dad actually, I mean, I talked about him being a nerd and stuff. He's like a comic book artist right now, and that's like his main income is making comic books and selling them on like
Oh, cool.
Kickstarter and stuff. And so he was telling me about doing Patreon and all these things. And so I'm thinking about like starting production, like social media and in real life, like, and combining those two. Because in Oklahoma City, there's only so much money to be made and only so much drag to do. And so pushing it out into the web, I think will bring back all kinds of, you know, people seeing me and people maybe paying me for different art things. And
Oh, that's sickening. Yeah. I think that's everybody, honestly. Like everyone who's an artist wants to make money off of their art in some fashion. And then also, but also at the same time, it's like it's hard to stick out because like there's 100 million podcasts out there, but there's not a lot of podcasts about drag. So
Mhm.
like I've capitalized at least on that market, but I still don't make money off this show. Um, I guess you just got to really find your niche,
Mhm.
like what's Max LaTour besides being good at everything? Like, what is the one thing that Max LaTour is good at and can sell? You know?
Yeah, I don't know. It's hard because, like, I don't know. I went to college for art and I graduated, but what is a fine art degree? I like drew some stuff with charcoal. I don't know how that turns into like really anything, and that doesn't really teach you how to like market your art. Doesn't teach you
Mhm.
how to sell it. It's not a business class. So I don't know. It's hard, and I feel like it takes artists years. It took my dad. literally like from the point I was born to like the point that I was moving out to like start making money off of his art.
Mhm.
Um, because the comics that he makes now are based on comics that he thought and didn't know how to sell when he made them, like probably when I was like 5 or something. Like he made those comics like forever ago and had these ideas, and he was like, "Oh, now I figured out how to market it." But it's also we're in a whole new age, so I feel like a lot of like he says like Patreon is good because then you can set a price and people can pay this specific amount. Because also, as my drag and stuff, and even Bronwyn's drag, like a little slutty. So I feel like a YouTube thing might not always work for us, especially because then. So I'm like, Patreon could be good because I think we can be. I think I don't know. I was like kind of scanning it. I think we can be like artistically nude or nearly nude. Can't do like, but you can like be like a little whatever about it. I don't think it's like as strict as Instagram because stuff like that. I'm like, well, can I be in pasties or are they gonna take that shit down? Like, how do
Yeah.
I market like a burlesque thing with actually still making money from it and not it being like that's not Christian enough for my Instagram. Like, we gotta take that shit
Mhm.
down. Like,
Yeah.
and Instagram, there's just not really there's no money to be made really, I guess. So
Yeah.
that's
As
the Kickstarter.
as a connoisseur of like sex, like not doing sex all the time, but like enjoying it, like
Mhm.
I like sex stuff. I've seen Patreons that like are 18 plus. So I think, yeah, you can do that.
Mhm.
You can also do an OnlyFans.
There you go. Max LaTour OnlyFans. Y'all gonna watch me? They'd be like, hell no. I'm gonna deep throat a corn dog, and me and Brom are gonna deep throat a corn dog together, and that would actually be funny as fuck to have like
Mhm,
really stupid drag like softcore porn. That
mhm.
would be crazy.
Yeah. Two drag queens guzzling down a hot dog, and it's
Honestly,
literally just a hot dog.
that would be so good. Actually, I think you know what? I'm gonna write that down. Me and Bronman. Bronman will be like, I don't know. I
Uh,
don't know. That's gonna tarnish my career forever. And my
Tarnish her
body.
career.
She already
She's
has deep
she's
throated a corn dog.
packing in all her photos, like, with her schlong out.
Yeah, I'm like, you're already a slut, bitch. Deep through
Mm,
this corn dog. Yeah.
yeah. Anyway, we are at the end of the show. Time for the lightning round section of the show. It's not really lightning round because we're gonna talk about these stuff for like even longer. Probably not too long though, because I think we've been going on for a long time. Thank you so much though. This has been really fun. A very good
Thank you.
conversation. Yeah, you're definitely not as shy as Bronwyn in her interview. So are you ready for the questions?
I think so. I probably will ramble, so we'll try.
We,
We'll
we
try.
love that. Question one. Describe a perfect day.
Perfect day. I never had one of those. No, I feel like definitely no like regular work. I feel like if there was a day where I could have a song in mind and the whole day be the song I want to perform, and I have a show at night, and I honestly don't even make an outfit during the day. I already have an outfit made. And so I have time to play video games. I have time to chill out. I have time to play whatever and just do whatever and hang out and then do a show. Go drink some wine maybe later in
Mhm,
the evening before the show. If that could be like the perfect day of just before a show. Because I usually am making an outfit, freaking out all day, having anxiety attacks, not even having any wine in the house, so I have to drink wine at the gig. No time to play video games. And I end up changing my song 5 minutes before the show. So that would be the perfect day to just feel at peace and content and normal and not sporadic and crazy.
mhm.
That would be
Sounds
perfect.
sounds like you need money. If you have money, someone else can make your outfit, someone else can pick your song, you know. Maybe you don't even need to perform. Like they could just watch.
No, I'm a control freak. I couldn't. I could
That's
I
fair.
could pay Bronwyn to make my stuff, and I'm like, Mm-mm. Too drag queeny. I mean, she can make a wig. This wig is made by her. She slayed with this. But no, we have different styles a little bit. So I do like to make my own stuff, but I just need to be consistent and not so crazy. Ugh.
Mhm. Yeah, or a manager, like a assistant.
Oh yeah, and that can't be Bronwyn because no, 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 no. She's got to manage herself. So yeah, I need like a little person to follow me around and like beat me throughout the week, and so then I can have a day off where they don't have to come in because I've already gotten everything done. That would be
Lovely,
perfect, actually.
lovely. Question number 2, what's a song that describes your life right now?
Oh shit, I don't know. Hmm. I don't know. Oh my god, I was listening to like Liza Minnelli earlier. What's that one song? She's like, um, nobody likes a loser, and so nobody likes me, or whatever. Or everybody likes a winner, so nobody likes me.
Is
And
that from
so
Cabaret? Like
I think it is.
okay.
Um, that song, honestly, I was listening to it as I was getting in drag, and I was like, this is very like sounds like a song from the Joker. It sounds very ridiculous and dramatic, but I kind of like that because I kind of like the vibe of like I think that's why I like Fiona Apple so much. I love just like misery, femme cell, just like wow, I'm just a flop, and but someday I'm gonna slay and be a star. I kind of love that vibe, and I kind of guess that kind of is the vibe of life. Not really. I don't feel miserable, but it's kind of fun to lean
Mhm,
into like I'm not the winner, and I'm a loser. That's why nobody appreciates me truly, but oh, I'm gonna whatever. So that song by Liza Minnelli, whatever it's called, and maybe it's called Winner. It is from Cabaret though, yeah, which I've never
okay.
seen, but honestly.
Yeah, you should see Cabaret. It's kinda fucked up. Like, the beginning part is really fun, but then when you watch it, like, when you, like, watch it after the 2nd act, it's fucked up.
Yeah, there was some song that was playing that was also from Cabaret, and I was like, okay, this is comfy. And then it was like, and she died, and everybody laughed at her. And I was like, whoa, whoa,
Mhm.
whoa, 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 what is going on? So I'm assuming that song is probably from the second act. I don't know. I
Yeah.
do need to see it.
There's one from the end of act 1. It's, "Tomorrow Belongs to Me," and,
Mm.
it's a Nazi song. Like, at first, you would think like, "Oh, yeah, this is kinda
Oh,
whatever, it's cute," and then, Nazi flags come at the end of the show, and they're doing the Hitler salute, and I'm like, "Ooh, there this is Nazi Germany, I forgot." And they
that's
remind you.
crazy.
Yeah,
She's
it's
like,
kinda
oh, you like this song? Interesting. Well, look at this.
yeah, and then that's the end of act 1 too, so you're like, "What just happened? We were just having some fun."
I don't think I realized how many like of these shows and these things. I didn't even know what Wicked was about. I thought it was like scary. It was just in like high school or something. I don't think I realized anything about any of these like musicals or shows or anything. That's
Have you s
crazy.
Yeah, have you seen Wicked?
No,
Okay. Well,
I
it ki
don't know anything about Wicked. Well, I've been forced to know things about Wicked as of recently, but I didn't know anything.
yeah, well, it comes out on digital, on December 31st, so get on it. It's very good.
We'll see. We'll
Okay.
see.
If you have 3 hours of your life to spare.
Oh, well, maybe. I'll just sit there stoning and torturing myself a little. No, it might be
Yeah,
good. I don't know.
yeah. It's really good. Speaking of movies, question number 3, what's your 3rd favorite movie?
Third favorite movie?
Mhm.
Oh,
The question
shit.
I like to ask everybody, so
Damn. Okay. My favorite, well, I have to think about order. Favorite movie of all time is German Broncos. So my second movie is I watch a lot of movies. I forget half the movies I watch. Ugh, I like Carol. I like. I also like have to think back to childhood because that's where like most movies I remember, and also most movies that I really like. Ooh, I love Paranormal Activity, the marked ones.
what was that?
Paranormal Activity, the marked ones.
Okay.
And it's kind of
That one
cute.
specifically.
That
What's
one specifically, I feel like it's like the best because it's like younger people, so it's like kind of funny and more realistic. Because the other ones are like old ass like 40, not old, but like 35 to 40-year-olds with like kids, and they're like, oh my God. And I'm like, I don't care about these people. But that one is like younger people, and it's really interesting and like specific. And so it seems like way more real. People would
Mhm.
probably be like, oh, they're acting or something, but it's a found footage, whatever. But yeah, I really
Yeah,
like that one. I
yeah.
feel like that's
I
a
I think that's really fascinating that you said 35 was old as I enter my 32.
it's not old, but for straight people, it's
Okay.
old.
Like,
Gay people can be 40 and be like
look
20,
young.
basically.
Yeah, no, you're absolutely right. Like I've seen straight cis like 30-year-olds like around my age, and I'm like, we're
Busted.
the, we're the same. Yeah, but not even busted. Like you look like my dad.
No, they fully, I'm like, why'd you grow the goatee at 20? They just gotta start looking 40, like off the bat of high school.
Mm-hmm.
And stress from having kids, I don't know what makes them look like so mature. Maybe it's just the masculinity.
Yeah,
I'm like a
not
straight man.
in the
Like,
closet.
oh yeah. That's just an amount because they're secretly gay. No,
Yeah, yeah, and no moisturizer.
no moisturizer, Dawn dish soap on the face. Yeah.
Anyway, question number 4. What's your favorite ice cream topping?
I don't know. I don't really often put toppings on my ice cream, and I'm a sherbet girly.
Okay.
But I do feel like, I mean, a nice fresh fruit. I don't know. Unless it's like a malt, I really don't go for like a dairy ice cream. I'm not necessarily lactose intolerant. It's just like too heavy. So probably a fruit or something. I like a gummy bear though, even
Okay.
though that shit gets like rock solid, and
Mhm.
I probably don't got the teeth to be chewing all that. But kind of love a gummy actually. A peach ring
Mhm.
in like an orange sherbet would go crazy, I think.
Yeah. Usually I like to add like frozen yogurt or sherbet if you don't
Hmm.
like ice cream, but that's nice. You're representing the sherbet divas.
Hmm. The sherbet community.
Mhm.
I'm not here for them.
The LGBTS
Hmm.
sherbet.
Hmm. Exactly.
Um, what kind of sherbet are you getting? Like, do you have a preference? Because I don't think we've ever had anyone who likes sherbet specifically. Not for
Uh,
any, not for any specific reason, but it's just like it's always ice cream or frozen yogurt.
mhm. Well, there's this restaurant that I think it's pretty much only in Oklahoma. It's called Brahms. They have like really fresh milk. It's like A1 milk too, so it's like not like so lactose and stuff. Anyways, they have like really good fresh food. They have like burgers and fries and stuff like that. Anyways, their ice cream is like real dairy, really good. Their sherbet is also really good, even though it's just sherbet. But they usually just have like orange and lime. But specifically, Brahms orange sherbet is what I go for.
Lovely. I think Bronwyn did talk about that restaurant. I have to go back. But like that's she really sold it. And it sounds really cunty.
She probably did. It's such an Oklahoma thing. It's so like specific because it's like only here. But oh my God, bitch, that's the one thing that makes me not want to leave is Brahms because I'm like, ah, I have to go to like Five Guys or something, which really would not be the same. Ice cream is not the same anywhere,
Hmm.
honestly. It is kind of trash everywhere except Brahms. Brahms is peak ice cream for real.
I'm gonna have to check it out if I'm in Oklahoma, if I find myself
Hmm.
there.
It's so good.
Last question, the most important question of the show. Pick a side, left Twix or right Twix.
Bitch, I fucking hate Twix.
Oh.
That nasty cookie on that dry caramel.
Mhm. Well,
I
gun to your head, Diva. Gun to your head. Which one are you? Which side are you picking?
mm,
It, one
I
side
guess
is one Twix is the Twix that helps you serve more cunt, and the other one uh helps you serve more realness. Which one would you want more?
not a realness. Hmm. Well, shit, I don't even know. What is I mean, I'm like, what does realness really pertain to? Maybe realness,
Yeah,
because then I'm thinking like raw, like real, like I don't know, thinking something like edgy, like I'm like scary or
yeah,
something for some reason. Yeah.
yeah. I think the term realness came from like, you know, you you look like a cisgender man or you
Mm,
look like a cisgender woman
right.
in like
Yeah.
your outfit, like that's the realness. If we want to
Mhm.
go by what RuPaul said in the realness in her
Mm,
lyrics, real is what you feel. Feelings
mm,
aren't real, you know. Put your money down, place your bets, spin the wheel.
period.
Yeah.
Period.
That was
Exactly.
that's exactly, you know.
Mm-hmm.
I
Yeah, I'm gonna go with that one then. Was that the left one? I don't know.
I think
Whichever.
so.
And the realness Twix. That's what I'm
Yeah,
going with.
the realness. I would say R. Why not? Because, you know, right, realness,
Oh
same
yeah,
thing.
yeah, yeah.
Okay. Yeah. I always love to bring up that lyric from because like I really love that song, but when you listen to the lyrics of it, it's like, Mama, what are you saying?
Yeah, I'm like, is this something really weird, like spiritual and like Illuminati? Like,
Real is what you feel. Feelings aren't real. Put your money down, place your bet, spin the wheel.
kind of love though, because that's so like kind of like 90s, like house, like whatever. Because their lyrics will literally be like crazy, like, this bitch is homeless and she's struggling. And you're like, and it's like, that is crazy. Like, it's really deep, real life, it's realness, but
Mhm,
it's like in like dance like beats. It's kind of and just like plain spoken over like a house beat. Ooh, so
mhm.
good.
Yeah, it I don't know if you've heard the song, but, like, it's giving really, like, the beat of it is, like, supermodel, fashion runway,
Hmm.
like,
Yeah.
beat.
Hmm.
Um, so, yeah, it's a really weird song, but it's one of my favorites. I think RuPaul produces some of the best gay music, you know? Like,
Honestly,
I
it's kind of fierce.
yeah, like, not even joking. Like I think she's amazing. A lot of people are like, "Oh, her lyrics are dumb and the music's dumb." I'm like, "You gotta like it's not about how good it is, it's just the vibe, you know?"
It's the vibe, and like that is part of gay music.
Mhm,
Like if you want, and also part of most dance music is like kind of crazy sounding and ridiculous. Either it's way too deep or it's way too like ridiculous. I mean, these bitches probably listen to Kim Petras being like,
mhm.
"Yes, I have sex, sexual things," and she's just saying like the most ridiculous, generic things, and they're like,
Yeah.
"Oh,
A
I'm
good
not
example.
RuPaul."
Yeah, a good example of that, not to go on a tangent before we go, but, like, Sophie can, like, really pump out, like, emotional lyrics, like,
Hmm.
"It's Okay to Cry," like, that song, ugh, that's such a good song, but then she has a song on that same album that says, "Face shopping. My face is the front of shop. My shop is the front of face," and then it's like,
Hmm.
It's
Yeah, and it's like sometimes like yeah, gay people want to feel pussy and being pussy and cunt and whatever is like it's very like rooted in vanity and vanity I guess isn't deep and it's very surface level, but whatever, whatever. Let people
yeah,
feel like puss. Like yeah, sometimes we have a song that's like I'm feeling my puss, I'm slaying. It doesn't have
yeah,
to be like gut wrenching sad songs all the
yeah.
time.
As long as the beat's good and you're have enough to drink, like, that's all that matters.
Exactly.
Well, Max, thank you so much for joining the show on the very last recorded officially, technically, we lost 2 episodes, but, you are technically the last episode of 2024. Where can people find you when they're in Oklahoma, besides the show we just advertised? Why don't you advertise it again and anything else you might be doing in the future?
Well, if you're local to Oklahoma City, anywhere near here, honestly, even if you're in Texas or Kansas, bitch, come up. Um, we will be at the Block Bar. We'll probably be starting the show around like 8, like it was for Dragula. Um, just because it's on the Saturday, every Saturday starting January 4th. So it'll be the day after it premieres, but that'll give us a full day of like starting it at what time we want. We don't have to wait for it to start streaming on TV. But yeah, it'll be at Block Bar, which is downtown in Oklahoma City. It's really cute. They have food, which is really good and really nice. You don't have to eat before the show, and you can eat during the show. You don't have to like sit there starving and like drinking a bunch of alcohol. You can load up on, they got fries, they got burgers, they got quesadillas, they have specials, they have drink specials for us too. So you might have like RuPaul themed drink specials. Usually it's like $6 in a little, you know, circulating thing that they just pour out for you real quick. But yeah, Block Bar, 8 p.m., January 4th, and then every Saturday until, I don't know, it ends in probably early April. But yeah, me and Bronwyn will be there hosting down, performing before and after with our special guest every week that circulates different people. But yeah.
And then if people are not in Oklahoma and they want to follow you, where can they find you?
If you don't want to have to fly to come see me in Bronwyn, then you can find me. I've changed like all my social medias to Max LaTour, Max with two X's, LaTour, LA tour. Um, and so that's my Instagram is where I'm most active. Posting my story. And if I post on like TikTok or something, which is also under Max LaTour, I'll probably post it to my Instagram too. So my Instagram is the place to be. But also, I probably will be starting a Patreon, and probably by the time this comes up, I'll have something on Patreon. Um, and then I might move over to some Kickstarter stuff so that people can maybe buy prints of pictures of me or whatever different kinds of things. But my Patreon, I think I'm gonna set it up like you can have like a dollar spot for like seeing exclusive pictures that maybe I can't be posting on Instagram, I guess. And then a second tier, I'll probably have some videos I'll start making and stuff like that. So probably by the time this comes up, you can go to patreon.com and type in Max Latour and I should be there. So yeah.
Yeah. And then the OnlyFans one will come out eventually.
Oh yeah, the OnlyFans for the corn dog eating. Hopefully Bronwyn, I'll have to give her a cut of the, funds, but yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully we'll get on that.
Sickening. Well, thank you again for joining us on the show, Max. And
Thank
thank
you.
you. Yeah. Thank you, Wayward Artist, for watching. And this has been a really great 2024. I'm excited for 2025 for the show. So keep looking forward to the future to see which other guests, drag queens, drag kings. Eventually, I want to get burlesque and, you know, other queer nightlife entertainment on the show. Um, I don't want this to just be a drag podcast, even though drag queens are really cool to talk to, but that's my goal for the future. So please support if you can. All my social medias will be in the description of the video, as well as Max's as well. So you can go follow her stuff as well. Maybe she'll have her Patreon stuff as well. So we can also have it in the description below. And um, yeah, I guess that's it. Happy holidays, everybody. Thank you for watching, and Wayward Artists, it's been real.